Is Keldon Johnson on the bubble this coming season? Happy Monday. Welcome back to Spurs In Focus right here on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Podcasts. You pick a platform, we are there. The focus is also on the Substack. Spurs In Focus Substack is completely free. Google that, sign up right now. And I thank you for making Spurs In Focus your first and only spot for all things San Antonio Spurs. Come here each and every day to catch up on the latest and greatest on the silver and black. My name is Jeff Garcia, a longtime Spurs writer in San Antonio. What are we talking about today? Is Keldon Johnson on the bubble? He's entering a contract year. And as of this recording, there's been no announcement there's going to be an extension. Does he need to step up his game? What needs to happen for him to secure his long-term future in San Antonio? Or could he be potentially, seeing the end of his days in San Antonio? We're talking about that. Catch up some Spurs news, including Wemby and Team France, and where you can meet Dylan Harper if you're in San Antonio. So make sure to stick around for that. It's going to bring in our guest, everybody. He is back, Mr. Raul Dominguez of the AP Sports. He is on X at Dominguez5. Raul, how you been, buddy?
I'm good. How you doing? Doing good.
Doing good, man. Like I told you right before we hit record about it, man, this offseason's dragging, man. Mm-hmm. It is dragging. I'm feeling it. Luckily, there's Team France and Wemby playing, so there's that, right?
Yeah. He looks great. He looks like he put on some muscle, too.
Yeah, he really, really does. That by the way, we'll get to it in a bit, but that Team France is stacked, man. They could really, really, really put a scare in Team USA in the field in the next Olympics if they qualify.
Yeah, they're definitely. They got some good young talent coming up as well. So,
absolutely,
the Olympics come around, I mean, they may even be more loaded. So,
yeah, scary times. I think again we'll get to it in a bit, but remember, everybody, it took Steph Curry to start going nuclear in that fourth quarter back in the Paris games for the Team USA to beat Team France for the gold medal. So again, more on that in a bit. Raul, we got to talk about Keldon Johnson. He's entering his final contract year. As I said in the intro, as of this recording, there's been no announcement if the team is going to extend him out. Now, Keldon Johnson and the Spurs, they can announce an extension at any point in the season. It could be game 81, game 82. They can say, okay, we extended him out. But again, as of this recording, there's been no such announcements. We've seen the Spurs re-up and extend Julie Champagny. Victor, that was an obvious, right? So there's two core guys right there, but Keldon, I'm assuming he's still a core guy, but coming off a sixth man of the year regular season and kind of a flat playoff run, maybe the writing is on the wall. Ro, where do you stand with Keldon Johnson? This is his final year. Do you think, well, at least the final contract year, not final year in San Antonio, but final contract year. Ro, do you think he may be on the bubble?
It's tough to say. I mean, obviously they got a lot of depth. They got a lot of good players right now, but I think Victor's such a huge. Keldon's such a huge of the team, the chemistry. He's definitely one of the glue guys, one of the leaders. I can't see him leaving. I don't think he wants to leave. I don't think the Spurs want him to leave. I think the only way that he leaves is if his contract demand is such a big number where that they can't put that into their salary cap or the salary structure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you. Now, he's so young. He's 26 years old. He's the longest Spurs tenured player. Again, the reigning sixth man of the year. And he appeared in all 82 games off the bench, I believe, last season with San Antonio. Averaged solid numbers, 13.2 points per game, 5.4 rebounds. And he shot well from three, 36% shooting and 52% shooting from inside the three. We also set, bench scoring franchise mark. Manu Ginobili was there to congratulate him, et cetera, et cetera. So he did produce in the regular season. But, Raul, I'm looking at the roster and I'm like, man, that's good. You did all that in the regular season, Keldon, but you brought in a Tobias Harris. Where are the minutes going to be for him? Do they get into Keldon's? Where is he going to be slotted, as far as coming off the bench or starting? All signs are pointing that Tobias is going to start. And also see the emergence of other guys. Carter Bryant, Spurs look very invested in him. Dylan Harper, those guys are going to need minutes. It feels like just the way the roster is starting to get constructed, it feels like Keldon might see minutes start getting squeezed from him.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough. I mean, you mentioned them, and then, of course, Terrace Reed Jr., who I think is going to be a big part. And then I'm still just in my own mind. I think Jaden Quaintance is going to. I just my own thoughts. I just feel like he's going to wind up coming back sometime after the All-Star game or around the All-Star game. Hopefully he does. But either way, that's another piece. That is going to be big for the Spurs. Not this season, then not. With him and Reed, and so like you're talking about, like Keldon's minutes are going to get squeezed. Figure Harrison is back, but Harrison's minutes probably be squeezed as well. Keldon's done everything the Spurs have asked him. I mean, he went full in and after being a starter earlier in his career, he's done everything they've asked of him. Bulked up, and then he slimmed down, and now he bulked up again. Kind of fit what the Spurs needed and wanted. So I think he's going to be. I think his minutes are going to go down, but I think he's going to know that it's part of the bigger picture to win a championship.
Yeah, and I put on your screen, everybody, y'all can see just what Keldon did during the regular season. He was a plus 3.9 for the Spurs. You can see on your screen right now. This is via pivot fade. Again, he's all positive. Look at the minimal turnovers there, Raul, 0.9. Seriously, I mean, in 82 games, that's pretty good. Gives you a lot of a little bit of everything. The assists you can see, the rebounds you can see, free throw attempts out there. He gets at least 2 a game. Does it all for the Spurs off the bench. I mean, even this, like he draws about 2 fouls a game. That's pretty good. It just sucks because it just feels the way the roster is being constructed that maybe he's not going to be a long time Spur. I mean, if Reed pans out and if Quaintance pans out, I mean, I feel sorry for God. I in my belief, I feel maybe at the end of the season, if he hasn't been extended out or we're going to the off-season playoffs and whatnot, that the Spurs are going to have a really, really big conversation about the future of him in San Antonio. I can even see, remember he's with Clutch Sports. I guess even that group there saying, let's go get you a team where you're going to get more minutes instead of being squeezed out. Unless Keldon says, no, I'm okay with it. I want to stay in San Antonio. But, we know Clutch Sports, man, they're aggressive with their clients, Raul.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But the good thing about Clutch Sports with Rich Paul and his group is they definitely get the biggest, bang for the players as far as, the buck, as far as dollar signs and everything. But Rich Paul's always struck me as the kind of guy that, as seeing his dealings, he always wants to make sure that his player is happy. He sort of directs players to where the teams they want to go to, and or if they want a bigger contract, he'll sort of find a way to get them more money from someplace else. So I think if Keldon says, hey, I want to stay here, I think Rich Paul and his group will do everything they can to work with Spurs. And the other thing is, Rich Paul, his group, the Clutch, they worked with the Spurs before, so they seem to have a great relationship with the Spurs. So, so I don't foresee them sort of pushing their way out. But as I said earlier, it could happen. If Keldon does decide, if his group does decide, hey, we want X amount of dollars, and the Spurs are like, well, we can't give you that. And they got Castle's deal coming up. They got Harper's deal right behind. I'm trying to think who else.
That's pretty much it. I think those are the 2 big heavy hitters that are coming up next.
So, yeah, I mean, so I think a lot's going to depend on Keldon and just sort of the way he feels. But I just don't. I can't picture Keldon not being a Spur. But
yeah, me neither.
I could never picture Tony Parker not being a Spur. He wanted to play in Charlotte for 1 year. So
yeah, I know. I could never imagine Iceman as a Bull, but he was a Bull. There's that. We're gonna get to some other points you brought up in just a few seconds here, but I want to talk about the elephant in the room, and that is Keldon's performance during the playoffs. And I'll put that on the screen there. I think that's where things kind of, I wouldn't say go sour for him, but didn't really show out as the sixth man of the year. You see the numbers just plummeted across the board. There's 13 points per game. The regular season to about 7 or 8 points. His positive, he still was a plus 1.4, but not the 3.6 that we saw during the regular season. He just really, really struggled. I think the Portland series, he was okay. The Minnesota series, he was okay. But of course, in the NBA Finals, it didn't really step up. But then again, a lot of players really, it's not just Keldon. I mean, there's a lot of talk on De'Aaron and even Victor and other players. But nevertheless, I think what you're seeing in your screen right now, his stats during their playoff run really hurt him. I wonder if the Spurs are thinking, like, you know what, Keldon, you did great in the regular season. You're great off the court and in the community and in the locker room. But that playoff run, we just got to see a little bit more. Why do I feel that this team, the Spurs and Keldon's camp, probably going to wait until the next offseason to talk about the future? I feel like that is not going to happen. Like, you aren't not see any type of momentum towards contract extension throughout the regular season, the playoffs. But I think they're going to have that conversation in the offseason next year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or they could maybe have some sort of preliminary conversations during the season. I kind of think that maybe that's kind of happened with what happened with Julian. I think they talked numbers, or talked about a contract extension, and they were able to work that out and announce it pretty early, in the off season. So could do that with Keldon as well. I was looking at his stats, and Keldon's the Portland series. It was kind of he didn't have that great of a series, and I was looking at his numbers. He actually did pretty well against Minnesota and Oklahoma City. It was just in the finals, and I kind of wonder if he was injured or something was going on. Because De'Aaron was hurting. Dylan Harper was hurting. I kind of wonder if there was something up with Keldon.
I think in the offseason, wasn't he seen in a photograph in a sling?
Was that picture? Yeah. I wasn't sure if that. When I saw the picture, I didn't see any sort of background or detail on it. I don't know if it was a recent picture or something else or whatever. But I did see that picture, and that's what I was thinking of. But kind of made me wonder, if he was hurt in the playoffs, because he did. Seemed like he so I'm trying to get the stats. He didn't take a lot of 3-pointers against the Knicks. I know part of that was the Knicks and how they were playing, but Keldon has never been shy about putting up the 3-pointer, and he didn't take as many during the finals, and he never looking at the stats, he never scored I think chose the highest point total during the series during that series of finals was 7 points. So something I just kind of feel like maybe something was up with him. Maybe he had a little bit of or something, but it also has to do with the physical play. So you wonder if Keldon's been working on maybe a mid-range game, because right now his game is the 3-pointer and then driving to the basket and sort of bullying his way in for a layup or a short jumper. So I think it would be great if you were able to put in maybe a little mid-range game. I think that would really help him. Especially in the postseason, because refs tend to swallow their whistles during the postseason. So I think a mid-range game would really, really help Keldon. So, but again, I'm curious to see once the season gets going and start doing media sessions. I'm just curious to see if he admits to having any sort of injury during the finals.
Yeah. You brought up a good point right now, and that is the upcoming contract extensions for two key guys, Harper and Castle. Now, they're a couple seasons away, but if we go a triage it, Castle will be first, and then it'll be Harper. We're already seeing the Thunder deal with this. Now they hit that point in their roster construction. You saw Lou Dort leave. He's gone. They're making tough decisions now. I get the feeling that Keldon might be the first if the Spurs are going to face that situation. Because look, they'd rather have that money go to a Castle, a Harper. We can't forget Vic. He got his rookie contract extension to the max, but there's still that mega contract that could be looming as well. I think that ultimately could put a nail in the coffin as far as Keldon's future in San Antonio once they reach that point. You see with the Thunder right now, the Spurs are going to go through that soon. That's what I'm worried about. But I mean, Raul, if the Spurs are going to go that route, maybe it'll be best again if they decide to not extend him. Maybe it's best to trade him and put him in a good situation. Those Spurs are really good about putting players in teams that are playoff contention and try to get something versus nothing. I mean, I think that's the worst case scenario in this situation here.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of get the feeling that if Keldon's tenure does end, I get the feeling that they'd probably. I just feel like they would just let his contract, have him play the season, have his contract end, and then, he would go sign with someone else. I just I can't see the Spurs trading, a big piece like Keldon away. I think that would be heartbreaking for the team, and
yeah, it would be
obviously for the city as well. But like I said, I just something just tells me that it's going to be if he does leave, it's going to be just asking for too much money, and it's going to be maybe something that sort of drags on in the off season.
Yeah. All right, Raul, what do you ultimately think? The Spurs will extend him out, maybe during the regular season, this upcoming one, or in next off season, work something out with him. How do you see this falling?
It's tough, because like you're saying, he's got such a great management group of Clutch. So I was thinking, maybe he'd sign maybe like a 1 or 2 year extension deal to sort of, give them some
deal,
But I don't know. Keldon and Clutch are going to want that. So, again, like I said, I can't picture Keldon going someplace else. So I don't know. I just get a feeling in the back of my head that he's probably not going to get an extension. All the factors that are in there.
Yeah.
Well, I just think maybe money wise, and then like you're mentioning the players that they have, pointing up with contracts, and the players that have the young guys that are coming up, and then they still got draft picks.
That's true.
Some good draft picks. So, it's gonna. Like you're talking about Oklahoma City. I mean, Oklahoma City got this great roster. They have to sort of take pieces away just to kind of keep it going. So yeah, I do agree with you. I think that if it gets to that point, I think Keldon will probably be the first one.
Yeah, he'll probably be the first one
to go. Yeah.
I have his vision of him retiring in San Antonio as a Spur.
Yeah,
I really do, and I hope that comes to fruition. But I mean, yeah, you brought up something really excellent earlier. You were talking about the, what could be with the rookies, especially Reed and Quaintance. If those guys really pan out, then yeesh, especially Quaintance. Again, where are those minutes going to come from? They got to come from somebody. I mean, maybe the likely candidates, maybe not Keldon. Maybe right now in year 2 is going to be Carter Bryant. You can squeeze minutes from Carter Bryant's role and give to Harris and some to Reed. And of course, Keldon, gets his minutes. Don't know, but this is something to monitor. Again, as of this recording, the Spurs have not extended him out. He is going into his final contract year. I think it's I got it here. Roughly about 18 million in his final contract year. So he's going to want to get a payday. Like all the players, it's a business. They got to get paid. And if the Spurs lowball them, unless he's going to be taking a page out of Manu and Tim Duncan's book and try to work a team-friendly contract. Maybe something like that. Maybe in the back end it gets more versus, now, or do something like that. Well, we'll see, but definitely is something to keep an eye on as the new season inches closer. Hey, those are our thoughts on it. Let us know what y'all think. Let Raul know on X at Dominguez5. Let me know on X at Jeff G Spurs Zone. And when we get back, we're going to catch up with some Spurs news. Wemby and Team France, they are playing right now. That doesn't count yet, but we'll talk about that. And then where you can meet and greet with Dylan Harper. And then I'm going to get nerdy with Raul in just a few seconds.
As the new leader of the Decepticons, I command you to subscribe to Spurs in Focus.
Bro, is that carrying? Was Grimlock carrying the ball with the fire?
No.
Is it kind of? No? No? All right. We are back, everybody, on this episode of Spurs in Focus. He is Raul Dominguez of the AP Sports. He's on X at Dominguez5. Give him a follow right now. And make sure to follow me on X at Jeff G Spurs Zone. Raul, want to catch up on some Spurs news and notes?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you see a theme here going? We had Grimlock, we had Starscream, now we have the old 80s Transformer bumper right there. All right. Well, in case you're living on the rock, and I know y'all are not, we're starting for Spurs basketball. Victor Wembanyama and Team France, they are playing a couple friendlies right now. Well, this past couple few days versus Serbia and Joker. In that first friendly, Joker got the best of Victor, 20 points to Victor's 10 points. Victor did a rebound in the second friendly exhibition match. He had double figure scoring, played a better all-around game. But Raul, where do you stand on players, especially at his level with the Spurs, risking injury and playing overseas right now during the off season? You Ford, you guys, we saw Manu. He was like, "No, I'm playing." Tony, he said he was playing. Now Victor's playing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm all for it. I mean, it's something that Victor is very passionate about playing for his home country. So I think this helps him, helps his game. I'm sure. I know there's been things that he's been working on during the off season, so he gets to sort of continue working on that. In a game setting, and the schedule isn't too heavy. Always going to be a risk of injury. In those type of games, but there's also risk of injury, if they're working out in the off season, doing, just sort of the pickup games or the 5-on-5s on their own. So there's always that risk, but with Wemby, I think it helped him out. Again, it helps him sort of work on his own game, helps with his in competitiveness, helps.
Absolutely.
And, France named him team captain. So
absolutely
his leadership as well. And I think the Olympic, this past Olympics, when you're talking, you mentioned about, Steph Curry, we talked about Steph Curry and sort of him going nuclear, to beat Wemby. I think that game really helped Wemby as well, just because, it showed what he could do. It showed, I'm sure he knew what he could do, but at the same time, until you actually do it, you still don't know. The fact that he was able to play so well in that gold medal game and sort of carry the team, I think that helped him season, because he knew what he was capable of. He knew how good he had become. He knew what it took to get to that next level of play. So, I think these things will definitely help him. And the other thing is, I think it also helps him appreciate his own teammates and their workouts and the way that they're together. So, it just, to me, it's just a win all across the board for Wemby to be playing.
Yeah, he even spoke with, I believe it was FIBA, their website, about putting on that jersey you see on your screen right now. He said that it kind of does mean a lot more to him than maybe the NBA jersey. And the reason why, he said, is because you rarely get to wear it. So, this is not the first time we heard this. Manu was very vocal about, representing Team Argentina versus the Spurs. He never put down the Spurs. He didn't say anything disrespectful, but he did say it does mean more when you're putting the country colors on right now. So again, these are 2 exhibition games for Wemby and Team France. I think they get the real deal going this week, right, bro?
Yeah, I think it's they have a couple of games. I think trying to see, they have a couple of games. Looks like August 27th, and then against Slovenia, and then August the 30th against Sweden. Looks like. So, again, really looking forward to seeing Victor. Victor looks like he bulked up a little bit.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
He seems healthy, seems happy. So, and again, Victor's so competitive. That just he's one of these guys that just, everything that I've seen, everything I've heard, he just needs to compete, whether it's chess or basketball or pong or whatever. So, I think this really helps Victor out. Helps him, continue to develop that fire and that passion that he needs to continue to be. He's talked about how he wants to be, one of the greatest players ever. I think this will help him as well.
I wonder if he's gonna get revenge of that little kid that beat him in chess.
I'm sure Victor's, Victor knows, what to do or the different moves that he can.
Yeah.
So I mean, like I said, Victor's extremely competitive. I mean, anything that I think about when the Spurs had that event. I can't remember what the name of it was, but where they had local artists paint the shoes, Teddy shoes,
Yes, yes.
and they had some different things there. Had the shoes, and then they had like a little pop-up shop thing. They had a ping pong table, and Victor, as soon as he came in, because all the Spurs came in for that event. Civilian clothes. First thing Victor went to was a pop-up shot.
Yeah.
Then after that, he went to the ping pong table, and then he started walking around looking. So, Victor just loves to compete.
That's it, man. Yeah, that's a sign of a winner right there when you just want to compete all the time. So good luck to Victor, Team France, and all of San Antonio is pulling for France right now. So we'll see how they fare, and they got to win. This is actually a qualifying event for the 2027 World qualifiers. You know how FIBA does it. So many qualifiers for this qualifier. So that's what it's about. So they got to win to qualify for another tournament. And I believe the next one is going to be in Qatar. So, and that's next off season. So that's why Victor and Team France are playing right now. All right, let's catch up with some more Spurs news and all right, Raul, everybody else, y'all want to meet Dylan Harper? They can have a cat. Very, very still playing right now. Dylan Harper will be going to Boomtown Sports Card and Collectibles. You see your screen if you're watching on YouTube. You're not. It's on October 15th at 7 p.m. Make sure you save a little money, though. All right, just save a little money. Again, Boomtown didn't announce how much tickets are, but they did tell everybody that you can only buy them in person. You can't buy them online, nothing like that. You got to go to the store. But look at that, Raul. I mean, just to sign a flat. A flat is basically, the crystal, the clear card where you have inside. That's what that is. $150 for that. Just to sign the equipment like a basketball or maybe a pair of shorts or something. $200. And then if you want an early entry photo opportunity with Harper, $150. You can see on your screen right now, one autograph per autograph ticket, one photo per photo ticket. You see, it might be a little pricey, but again, worth it because it's rare to meet a player like this. It feels like you're to get up close and personal with him. Raul, can I ask you, do you have any sports cards that you just still treasure to today? Or maybe you have like your holy grails that you wish you had?
Yeah, but when I was younger, I used to collect baseball cards. I'd walk home from school and would always stop at 7-Eleven on my way home and would always, I think it was like a quarter maybe. They were back then.
I don't know that, yeah.
I always buy like I wouldn't eat lunch and I'd save the $1 or whatever I had, go to the store and pick up cards. And so I still have them. Cal Ripken's rookie card.
Nice.
Ryan Sandberg's. I can't remember if I have Ricky Henderson's. But I had some really good cards. I still have them, somewhere in the house. But the one card that I picked up later that I absolutely love, it's a card of I think it's the front of the card says something about who was the only player to get 7 hits off of Nolan Ryan, and then when you flip the card over, it's that picture where Nolan Ryan has Robin Ventura in the headlock. And
yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So I can't remember where I saw that, but as soon as I saw it, I had to buy it. I mean, and that's like my favorite card ever. I still have that. I had Tiger Woods' rookie card.
Nice.
But I want to selling it. I wish I hadn't done it, but I want to selling it. Right before the boom. So
yeah.
From when I sold it until I guess when they kind of hit the peak, and I lost a lot of money on it, but I let someone in and sold it. So that's one I wish I had back. Trying to think, wasn't much of a basketball card collector. I wish I was, because maybe could have got maybe like a Jordan rookie to that time. But I used to love collecting cards. I don't really do that anymore, but I still do that every once in a while. Like I pick up a Victor card, a Wembanyama card whenever I see one. Speaking of Dylan Harper, I want to just buy. I actually went to the Spurs fan shop and was kind of looking around one day during the game, and I said, I'll buy some cards, and Dylan Harper was one of the first ones that picked it. So yeah.
You ever watch those pack rip breaks videos where they just go wild? They just go wild if they pull like a ultra rare card, or especially if they get a Wemby, or just any well-known player. I mean, they just go berserk. It's like they won the lottery or something. I don't know if you've ever seen that show on Netflix. It's called The King of Collectibles. Yeah. There's if you watch it, there's a lot of episodes on Spurs memorabilia. You have the original Coyote. He goes in one episode to pretty much get some money for the original Coyote costume. And then there's one. It's not technically Spurs related, but Karl Malone goes to the store, and this was smart. He had every single 92 Team USA jersey all autographed. Yeah. So he had Robinson's number 5 jersey, Barkley's, Birds himself, Stockton. He had the whole team. That fetched a lot of money, that auction there, man. So yeah, again, if you want to check out Dylan Harper, you see it on your screen, October 15th, 7 p.m. Boomtown Sports Card and Collectibles. That's the same spot where I think in 2024 Victor went to do a rip night. And it's still
but I remember the video. I can't remember. I don't think I watched the whole thing, but I remember that when Victor did that, and he was ripping some cards open. So.
All right, there you have it. Some quick Spurs news and notes. By the way, when I shared this on social media about Dylan Harper going to Boomtown, I had collectors not message me, but send me like a tweet at me. They're like, "Shh, stop spreading the news." They don't want nobody to go because they want it all to themselves. All right, time to get nerdy. Yeah, I'm gonna put.
I was gonna say just real quick. Dylan's gonna be a great player. I think he's gonna be, one of the. By the time his career's over, I think he's gonna be a Hall of Famer. So
yeah,
if you get a chance, if you have the money, or catch him maybe during a game. I think he's signs. I think I've seen him sign sometimes.
Oh, it does. Yeah.
Like in that little tunnel and stuff. So, but he's definitely one you should definitely collect, because he's going to be spectacular. And his game, his passion, is such a great young man. Real funny, very personable. So I think he's going to be again. I think he's going to be a Hall of Famer. So he's one that you want to try and get autographs or things, early in his career, so that way you can have that as the years go by.
During the tunnel, is Victor still kind of selective on the cards, right? You see him kind of skip over cards sometimes, like he cannot sign. Yeah. So, but nevertheless, yeah, if you get a chance to get either Victor or Dylan, you want to do that right now. All right, now it's time to get nerdy. Yeah, I'm going to get nerdy with Mr. Raul Dominguez in just a few seconds. All right, awesome for everybody. All right, and I saw this. I'll put it out of my specifically now Rushmore of movie robots in movies. All right, no cyborgs, so like RoboCop doesn't count. Just a hint. But this was the visual. Let me go and take that off your screen there and put that back on there. There we go. So this was the question I had posed on X. We were no 3 slots were taken, right? R2, T800, and Optimus Prime. I'm okay with that. I can live with that. But I contend that the 4th spot, there's no competition. It has to be C3PO. Now, I'm going to give you my top candidates to push out 3PO for that 4th spot. But first of all, let's start off with that. Do you agree that maybe it's just 3PO and there's really no other cinematic robot that can replace him?
Well, I don't know. Was it?
This one's tough. And I have some strong candidates, so I'll get your thoughts on it in just a few seconds. But what do you think?
I don't. 3PO is great for me, but I just feel like R2's more of the sort of the icon. Yeah. I always kind of felt like 3PO was sort of this almost like R2's
side. He was the sidekick, yeah.
Yeah. So I think there's definitely room for someone other than C3PO on there.
All right. So on X, I did not expect the response. I had people who were not even nerds just saying like, no, how dare you say you ignore this person and or this robot and you ignore this robot. So I had to make it very clear. All right. So like they threw out some candidate names. So you couldn't do RoboCop because he's a cyborg. He's still part human. So he got kicked out. Somebody said, okay, what about Voltron? They said, no, not really, because he has human pilots. So it still doesn't count. Somebody said, okay, it's got to be Hal from the Space Odyssey. I go, oh, is he really a robot or is he just AI? So you kicked Hal out. Somebody goes, well, Darth Vader, again, he's a cyborg. He's not a robot. So let me get your reaction to kind of like the top robots that could possibly take that fourth spot. One of them named out there was the Iron Giant. What do you think about that?
I love that. I love that movie, but I don't know.
Right? Yeah, it's tough.
No. I mean that wouldn't be my selection. So.
Okay, you throw another one. What about Gort? Remember Gort? Remember the big old hit the visor, hit the beam?
Yeah.
So we'll talk about iconic robots. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if he's iconic enough for the list of you're just gonna do 4 of them. So.
All right.
So the one I have in mind, I'll tell you what later. No, I'll tell you later what's the list. I'm trying to think if he actually counts as a robot, but we'll
okay.
We'll go.
Okay. The other candidate to get the number 4 spot, was Wall-E in the Pixar things.
Yeah,
that's close. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
That was tough. Yeah. This is the tough one. Mm-hmm. Another candidate that I proposed was, what about Ed 209, RoboCop's enemy in the first film? Ed 209 was a robot, and you see, it's like you put just the image of C-3PO. I think a lot of people will say, "Oh, that's 3PO. That's 3PO." Mm-hmm. If you put Ed 209, I think you might get somewhat of a reaction like that, but I don't know. But so I had Ed 209 up there. Another candidate was the robot from Lost in Space. Danger, Will Robinson, Danger.
Yeah.
He was close for me. I think maybe he could have taken number 4. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think he was like, I'm trying to remember. I don't think there was ever really a robot before him, or one that was that's well known. I think he sort of ushered in that era of the robot as a
main character.
Exactly, as a main character, and someone that watched over the family, so he became pretty beloved as well.
Yeah, and then the one of the final candidates somebody proposed was, well, what about Mecha Godzilla? That one was close, but I think Mecha had a human pilot. I think Mecha was piloted by humans, so that didn't count. So there goes that. But again, this is in cinema. All right. I some other candidates I threw out there, maybe Vision from the MCU. I mean, he's an android. So somebody proposed, well, maybe Stephon, maybe. This one was just for me. I just really briefly, really can't. That's icon. That's an icon. Hard to push and say that no, he doesn't get. Who are you gonna go with?
I was trying to think, and because I saw you when you posted, and I was trying to think who the 4th would be. I don't know if he would be considered a robot, but is T-1000, would he be considered a robot?
That's a good question. Man, I didn't think about T-1000.
I mean, because he was such an iconic character. I mean, it was like nothing.
Yeah.
That time, nothing.
But what powered him? Like what? He just
he would just liquid metal, isn't that what he liquid metal, and just able to change that into whatever shape or identity that he wanted. Could make his hands into swords or knives, and
that one's interesting.
Take on other people's appearance. I don't know if he would technically be a robot, but
I mean, technically he doesn't have human parts. He just mimics humans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I was thinking on the 4th one, but I started thinking about, like, I don't know if he's actually considered a robot. So
yeah, I got to figure out. Yeah, that's what we find out. Like, what is he classified as? Like just a computer liquid, or is it a robot? That's a good point. Another candidate somebody threw out there, and I threw out there was, what about Johnny Five from Short Circuit?
Yeah.
Johnny Five. Yeah, but I don't know if he's more generational.
Yeah.
Like as far as like the 80s generation. 80s generation, we would recognize that. You and I, probably these kids now, they'd be like, what's that?
Yeah, I mean, because, like the ones that you have there, like, they're famous, when they first came out, and they still are. Like, people see R2-D2, the young kids know who they are. The older folks know. T 800.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that from Terminator with Schwarzenegger. I mean, everybody recognizes it. Him coming out of the fire. With all the flesh burn, all you see with that robot. Same thing with Optimus Prime. You see it, you know who that is right away. There's no confusion as to who that is.
And that's why I think 3PO has to take it, right? I mean, that has to be his. Yeah.
Yeah. But again, like I said, I don't know if T1000, if he does count as a robot, I would put him there. If not, it'd probably have to be Greaser.
Somebody said that they agreed with me that it's tough to push off 3PO as the leading candidate for that, like the number one contender for it. But he goes I can't do that. But it's like having two Lakers on the Mount Rushmore, and I can't do that. He was a Spurs fan. He goes, it's like having two Lakers there. Like, why do you have two Star Wars properties there? I go, well, but if we're just erasing, okay, take away that just iconic cinema robots, I think it's really, really tough to push outside 3PO. My candidates to really give 3PO a run is Iron Giant. I think that's a good candidate there. I think Land of the Lost, Danger Will Robinson. Yes, that's one. And Gort. Now, I have my dark horses are, I don't remember the name of the robot, but I do know where the movie it came from, Metropolis. Remember what was 3PO was based off of.
Yeah.
But again, do generations recognize them? Generations recognize R2 and Prime and 800. But it takes old folks like you and me to say, oh, yeah, Metropolis robot. Sure, yeah. There's that. And then my other dark horse, but again, does this robot span generations? You're going to love this one, is the Golden Mechanical Owl in Clash of the Titans.
Oh, yeah, that was...
Bubo. It was Bubo.
Yeah, that was... I love that movie. I wish someone would remake that movie. Well, I think they... Didn't they...
They did.
Maybe I did. They did,
Yeah,
but I think I started to watch it, but it didn't hold...
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't hold up to the first one.
Yeah.
But that was such a great movie. I mean, those... it wasn't even CGI. Special effects were they weren't very good, but it was still great.
You go back and watch the Medusa battle. That was tense. That one really got like, oh my God, he's gonna get smoked if he looks at her, and the battle, how he used the shield as a reflection. I thought that was cool. I think that was one of my favorite battle in that movie. I also like the battle of the Scorpions, but that one was pretty cool. All the soldiers took on the Scorpions. Again, looking back at the one in the, what was it, late 70s or early 80s? Clash of Titans. Let me get that.
I think it was late 70s, I think.
Late 70s? Okay, yeah. So there's that, but no. And the other ones I threw out there was maybe Roboto from He-Man Master of the Universe movie that just came out. But again, is it generational? I think you and I will recognize Roboto, but I don't think generations will. So in my opinion, it's tough to knock out 3PO as taking that spot. But again, Iron Giant, Gort, I don't know. Gort feels like maybe he should be generational. Maybe, but yeah, I don't know. But Danger Will Robinson, I don't remember that robot's name is, but that one's a leading candidate there. But everybody was pushed, but the majority of the vibe was on social media is it going to come down to push off 3PO? Is either going to be Wally, Iron Giant, and Johnny Five. Those are the three ones I thought that maybe they can push off. But this was tough, man. So let us know what y'all think. Who should get that fourth spot? I'm going with 3PO. I think it's tough to knock him out. Raul wants to see Bubo out there on the Owl from Clash of the Titans. He wants to see him on there. But let us know what y'all think. All right, there's your little quick, well, not really quick, but there is your nerd moment here at Spurs in Focus. Raul, it is the off season. I know you're waiting for the regular season, but what do you have cooking? What's going on in your world?
Same thing. Just kind of waiting on the off season to end, and seeing what the Spurs are going to look like. I mean, I'm kind of getting the vibes of 2014, sort of the redemption season. So it's going to be interesting. I really, really looking forward to this season.
Me too. It's going to be very interesting. There's some talk. I don't know if you saw this, but there's some talk that the Spurs are going to actually get worse. Not necessarily because they're going to sink to the end, but just record-wise, not get a 60 or win season. I think they can. I think they can do that at minimum 60. But we shall see. It's going to be, although it feels like the West is very top heavy now with Denver getting DeMar DeRozan. It's really now like Denver Spurs and Thunder, but it's still going to be competitive. You know, the anti-tanking rules are going to help get competitive games. So we shall see. But you want to follow Raul on X at Dominguez5. Do that right now. And let him know what you think about his nerd pick for the fourth iconic cinematic robot. Okay, I know y'all think RoboCop should get it, and I wish he did, but he's a cyborg. You know, he doesn't count. Let Raul know what you think about that, as well as his thoughts on the Spurs, Keldon Johnson, et cetera, et cetera. Follow him right now. Raul, thank you so much for taking time in your schedule to join us here on Spurs in Focus. Everybody else, we thank y'all for making Spurs in Focus your first and only spot for all things San Antonio Spurs. You want to come here every day, every single second, every minute to catch up on the latest in the silver and black. Be sure to follow us on Spotify, YouTube Music, Amazon Podcasts. What else you got? Apple iTunes. The list goes on. The Substack is free. Spurs in Focus Substack. Go subscribe right now. We'll be back on Wednesday as the Spurs regular season continues. So for Mr. Raul Dominguez, I am Jeff Garcia, and now you're in focus with Spurs in Focus.